that you can set your watch to. Yikes. So we're talking today about the time that CRKT made a short sword designed to literally cut people's arms off.
This was a request by guys in Afghanistan that wanted a knife big enough to delimb people up close.
So this one was designed by a master of the martial arts, and I'm not sure if my pronunciation is correct, but I believe it's James Williams? Just kidding. Bit of like one of those American ninja type guys from looks of them, you know, the sort of chap that gets around in a gi, you know. He made this sword for sending to the troops in Afghanistan and cutting off arms and legs in close combat, mainly arms from his descriptions on his videos about the knife. So we've got a 12-inch blade made of YX30 carbon steel, which is like a Japanese 1095-ish carbon steel, 1.05% carbon, and not a great deal else. So pretty simple carbon steel blade, not a bad choice for a short sword indeed. You know, it's going to hold an edge a bit longer than your mid carbon steels that longer swords need to be made of, because they are longer and therefore leverage gets the better of them easier. And yes, it will still be relatively tougher than like a stainless steel, for example. So when you hit those bones as you're passing through, you shouldn't dull your blade. So you could cut off, you know, several arms in an outing before you needed to touch it up with your work sharp.
Victory is mine!
You know, if you're a soldier who ever was issued or chose to carry a short sword in Afghanistan, I would love to hear from you. I suspect the comment section in that regard will be a little quiet though. So many things are made for the troops, or at least inspired by the troops, and the amount of things that actually get to the troops is usually not so many. But the main thing to take away from this review is that swords are cool. So that is why I have it here. My friend Jeff said, hey, I got this thing, and I get the impression it's one of those things that you buy and your wife just gives you that look, just that kind of look. And I reckon Jeff might have got that, or he was worried about getting that and he was sick of hiding it in his shed, which I totally get. So he sent it to me because he might, you know, he thought I'd be able to do something fun with it. I'd be able to make some content with it. And yeah, I'll make some content with it. I'll bust this out from time to time and do some chopping. As you can see, I am a bit of a bladesmith myself. No, a blade master myself. Not really. So I have no practical use for this sword at all, but I certainly do enjoy owning it. It's got a sort of fake race skin under the handle, which feels like kind of plastic made to feel like bumpy race skin. And then it has like a cord wrap, and it has this plastic guard here with, you know, Japan-esque symbology along it. The blade has 2 grooves on this side, like the show side perhaps, and it has 0 grooves on the other side. It's worked to a relatively nice polish. It does tarnish, of course, being a simple carbon steel. So I go over this one every now and then with a high grit sanding stone, a sanding block, and just some WD-40, and I generally treat it. And when I need to sharpen it, I sharpen it on the work sharp unguided. So I just use, you know, a low enough angle that I can sort of see that it's not going to make it blunt edge, you know, it's not going to make it really fat edge. So I kind of slim it out as best as I can. I just eyeball it, and it always gets nice and sharp. You know, I can cut a milk jug in half with this. I'm not sure if you noticed before, but this certainly does make things one thing into 2 things quite happily. So very, very cool. Look, in terms of how it works as a short sword, yeah, for your use, you the viewer's use, this will do absolutely fine for all of your short sword uses. If, however, you are one of my viewers that is in the war or was in the war and needed a sword to cut off someone's arms, then please let me know how this one went, if this was the sword that you bought or was issued to you for said arm chopping. Yeah. So 350 bones this one sold for, and this is just a very brief review because you can't get this anymore, unfortunately. He did a folding version of this, which was a lot smaller, but it still kind of looked similar. I think it was the Hisatsu. So this, of course, is the Hishu. And so he's just a general knife and sword designer and an all-round kind of karate guy. You know, like those kind of guys who just love the martial arts. You know, love talking about martial arts and love, making weapons for hypothetical situations where you might have to martial arts someone in real life. All that good stuff. And that's totally fine. I'm an enthusiast for like sharpening and knife skills and fussing between them in ways that would never really apply to real life. So no shade, but it's just that's the kind of bloke that Mr. Williams, I believe, is. And yes, he's made and designed a very cool short sword in the Hishu, that is for sure. So if you can get one of these, look, it's well made and it's made of good steel. Like, it's not just made of 420 HC or anything like that. It's made of a good steel that does make sense in a short sword. And for the highly specific purpose that this does exist for, I would guess that it would do just fine. But, for your use as a collector or as someone who just likes this fun shit, it'll certainly suit your uses as well. The Hishu, if you can find one and it looks like fun to you, because it is quite fun to me, I'd suggest giving it a go. Yeah.
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left.
Yes, I have.
Look!
It's just a flesh wound.